Lucy is a young student struggling to support herself. She works multiple jobs after classes, participates in medical research, and then works as a waitress in a cafe. In the evening, she relaxes in a bar where she meets a girl who has expressed interest in her. The hotties indulge in illegal substances before joining the men at one of the tables. When they cannot decide who will spend the night with the charming Lucy, she suggests tossing. The following morning, Lucy returns to her flat where she has to make ends meet by cleaning the bathroom tiles. Her relationship with her neighbor is stressed and she desires her own house. Shortly after, she obtained another part-time position in the office sorting papers. After work, Lucy meets with a friend who recently overcame his habit. She takes care of Birdman by bringing him meals and beverages. Tonight, even though she had put an immense effort to earn money, life continued to torment her. She found herself living under the roof of her best friend's place, Biederman's house. The reason was simple: sharing the rent meant she only had to cover 1/3 of the expenses. But even in this situation, she wasn't completely free from trouble. Her girlfriend's boyfriend often disapproved of her irregular rent payments, and as a result, she felt obliged to take on the dirty and tiring household chores as a way to offset her rent arrears. The constant struggle with finances and the friction in her living situation pushed her to seek a higher-paying job. Fortunately, her luck seemed to change one day when she stumbled upon a job advertisement in the newspaper. The promised salary in the ad filled her with excitement, and without hesitation, she dialed the provided number. The voice on the other end arranged an interview and instructed her to wear a dress for it. Lucy's heart raced with anticipation as she arrived at the elegantly decorated location for her interview. Clara, the person who greeted her, exuded an air of luxury that left Lucy somewhat awestruck. Clara's delicate makeup and elegant demeanor set her apart. Lucy knew that to secure this job, she had to give it her all. Clara began to explain the job to Lucy, and it became clear that this was not an ordinary waiting position. She would be wearing a specially designed uniform and serving VIPs alongside other girls. Clara informs Lucy of the position but first inquires as to whether she has any negative habits. She also learns whether Lucy uses medication and whether she has a medication allergy. Lucy accepts Clara's offer to work as a waitress at a posh private club where she will serve food to guests while wearing only her underwear. The atmosphere was exclusive, and Lucy couldn't help but feel a mixture of nervousness and determination. As the interview progressed, Lucy felt a strong desire to prove herself. She knew that this job could be her ticket out of her current financial struggles. Clara seemed impressed by Lucy's enthusiasm and assured her that they would be in touch soon. Leaving the interview, Lucy couldn't help but reflect on how life had led her to this point. She had faced hardships and challenges, often feeling trapped by her circumstances. But this job opportunity felt like a glimmer of hope, a chance to break free from the cycle of financial stress and dependence on her friends. In the days that followed, Lucy anxiously awaited a call from Clara. And finally, she is called by Clara and told that she has been the perfect match for the role, so she is straightly hired for the role. She knew that if she landed this job, it would not only provide financial stability but also a sense of independence and a new direction in life. Lucy was determined to seize this opportunity and prove to herself and others that she could overcome adversity and build a better future. With each passing day, her optimism grew, and she continued to visualize a life where she no longer struggled to make ends meet, a life where she could truly enjoy the fruits of her hard work. Lucy had come a long way, and this job interview represented a pivotal moment in her journey toward a brighter future. All of the billionaire dignitaries being served are paid $1,000 per hour, by the hour, and she was reassured that nothing major would occur. Before Lucy left, Clara gently reminded her that although the pay here is high, she cannot use it as her primary source of income because this job is unstable. The money earned can still pay off the loan, but do not think about becoming wealthy with this job. Lucy did not care if something happened because this place pays too much. 1 hour's pay is equivalent to a month's salary for a waitress. Clara offered Lucy a pedicure and a full-body treatment that evening before taking her to the villa to make her body more lovely and delicate. She was told to go to the dressing room and put on a particular uniform. Only 2 articles of clothing were needed for the required girl to change into a specific uniform for one night once she had stripped naked. This group of stylish, influential people is Lucy's easy target for earning $50,000. Serving food and cheap wine to this bunch of individuals is all that Lucy had to do, and once the work was finished, she was paid well. She had the impression that a whole new world had just opened up. The previous tasks were exhausting and provided little reward, but now she felt as though a new world had opened up to her, making her young heart swell. Resistance to the small compensation was not worth it since retaliation started to grow. She no longer opted to travel outside the house using public transportation, instead taking cabs everywhere. With her outstanding posture and flawless body, she gradually started to look less and less at those positions and became more and more interested in the unique requirements of the task. Lucy is content with the work Clara has given her. However, in addition to her busy schedule, Lucy regularly frequents nightclubs in quest of fresh prey. Although her earnings from these activities are lower than those from her particular employment, she can still easily make a lot of money as long as there is a market for her services. She can explain why Lucy is working so hard to pay for daily expenses as well as to save money for her beloved Boardman surgery. Every time Lucy visited the Biedermans with a tired body, just one sip of hot water was enough to ease her heart. He was just like Lucy, he had nowhere to turn in this unfamiliar city. His body has been reliant on treatment for a long time. As a result, he is unable to work, so the costs of their lives fall on Lucy's shoulders. Boardman was the only person who could allow Lucy to open up to him as they cuddled in the city, thus she was unwilling to give up on him. They shared their stories. Since they were both students and could not afford to pay for his healthcare care, which resulted in Boardman's unfavorable condition, their shared childhood experiences of abuse and neglect by their families are what drew them closer together. Lucy received a phone call from Clara one day asking if she could take a new job where all she had to do was strip naked and sleep in bed, but the salary was several times higher than a waitress. Lucy accepted the job without giving it much thought because she knew that Boardman's days were numbered and she could see how awful things were for Boardman. This made Lucy even more driven to make money. Lucy shows up to the appointment as she might soon earn more money. When the car stopped in front of a private villa, Lucy was worried that things were not as easy as Clara had claimed. As she got out, she saw a girl being helped out, and it was difficult for her to imagine what she had been through inside. Despite this, Lucy overcame her anxiety and listened to Clara's work schedule at her request. After changing into a nightgown, Lucy took a shower. She was then given a glass of water with the sleeping tablets in it and was instructed to drink it to fall asleep. Lucy was then introduced to spend the rest of the night in bed. She told Lucy that there would be no unintentional pregnancy and that the job would end the following morning. She said, "You will be paid every penny you are entitled to, and there is no danger during this time. When you wake up, you may feel weak for a short time, but you will soon return to normal." After drinking it all down, Lucy dozed off on the bed for a while. Soon after, Clara brought in an elderly man who turned out to be the powerful man from the previous party. He had long been drawn to Lucy's beauty, but now that she was within his grasp, he seemed a little uneasy, and Clara noticed her concerns. Nothing should happen with Lucy, and everything else was good, she assured the elderly guy, but he also had to comply with the rule. As soon as Clara departed, he could not wait to take off his clothes. The following morning, Clara wakes up Lucy and drives her to her house. When she gets there, her best friend's boyfriend wants to evict Lucy since she is too far behind on her rent, and her best friend can only leave an apology. The good news is that Lucy makes a lot of money in her new career, which Clara presents to her as an estate agent. However, after renting a home, Lucy gradually picked up an expenditure habit. When jobs like Sleeping Beauty were not always available, Lucy had to keep working odd jobs like copying and passing drug tests before she finally waited for the job again. After that one well-paying job, Lucy frequently called to inquire if there was a job available. However, after all the expensive rent and spending habits, she quickly wasted the money. Eventually, Lucy waited for the Sleeping Beauty job again. Clara brought in a bald man who would have assumed that this man was bisexual after Lucy was fast. The following morning, Lucy woke up in pain and with bruises all over her body given that she only needed to sleep naked to receive a daily salary from her job at the mansion. She consumed sleeping pills each evening when she went to bed, and this was the reason she was unconscious of what was happening during the workday. Boardman received a high salary but was unable to escape his disease. By the time Lucy found him, he was not breathing. Lucy is devastated by Boardman's departure, but she has to move on with her life. Now that Boardman is dead, she is not as weighed down by more costly medical bills, and she is desperately in need of a home. However, how could the men who took her place of residence at night make such a promise to her so easily? Nevertheless, she is given the job of Sleeping Beauty once more and gets her third client. Despite Clara's repeated warnings, the customer disregarded the regulations and left no evidence of his presence. Lucy worked up the nerve to ask Clara what had happened the next day when she was aware of the marks on her body, but Clara declined to discuss what had happened. After all, she did not want her client to take any chances, so Lucy had to give up for the time being. However, she did not give up. Instead, she went to the store and bought a pinhole camera so she could independently ascertain the truth. To position the camera carefully, Lucy has appeared at the office for the entire time of work. She took the pills and overcame her desire to fall asleep. This time, Clara brings in the same old man as the first time. The following day, after work, Clara noticed that the old man had been waiting a while before leaving. She entered the room and discovered the old man dead next to Lucy. Clara immediately tried to calm down and wake Lucy, but Lucy was unresponsive because she had taken too many sleeping pills. Clara's state of mind abruptly deteriorated. It's great that Lucy eventually woke up, but she was shocked by what she saw and began to cry out in terror before realizing that her role was not just to sleep. At this point, she was unsure of whether to feel regret or fear.